Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Little Chapel of Faith Catholic Ministries. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We have platforms on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So we have four to choose from, and we have a website that we are working on. So stay tuned for that. We are here for our reading from the Diary of Saint Faustina. So we're going to begin where we left off yesterday. And just if you are new here, we do have a playlist on YouTube. So if you want to catch up, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But we also have some videos on there from the nuns that are in the order that she was in, and they tell her story, which is really, really interesting. So you might want to check those out. So let's begin. Once, when I was in the kitchen with Sister N, she got a little upset with me, and as punishment, ordered me to sit on the table while she herself continued to work hard and cleaning and scrubbing. And while I was sitting there, the sisters came along and were astounded to find me sitting on the table, and each one had to her say. One said that I was a loafer, and another, what an eccentric. I was a postulant at the time. Others said, what kind of sister will she make? Still, I could not get down because Sister had ordered me to sit there by virtue of obedience until she told me to get down. Excuse me. Truly, God alone knows how many acts of self denial it took. I thought I'd die of shame. God often allowed such things for the sake of my inner formation, but He compensated me for this humiliation by a great consolation. During benediction, I saw Him in great beauty. Jesus looked at me kindly and said, my daughter, do not be afraid of sufferings. I am with you. Once I had night duty, and I was suffering greatly in spirit because of the painting of the image, and I had no longer knew which way to turn because they were constantly trying to convince me that the whole thing was an illusion. On the other hand, the priest said that perhaps God wanted to be worshipped through this image, and therefore I have to try to get it painted. Meanwhile, my soul was becoming extremely exhausted. When I entered the little chapel, I put my head close to the tabernacle, knocked, and said, Jesus, look at the great difficulties I'm having because of the painting of this image. And I heard a voice from the tabernacle, my daughter, your sufferings will not last much longer. One day I saw two roads. One was broad, covered with sand and flowers, full of joy, music, and all sorts of pleasure. People walked along it, dancing and enjoying themselves. They reached the end and without realizing. At the end of the road, there was a horrific preface, that is, the abyss of hell. The souls fell blindly into it as they walked, so they fell, and their number was so great that it was impossible to count them. And I saw the other road, or rather a path, for it was narrow and strewn with thorns and rocks, and the people who walked along it had tears in their eyes, and all kinds of suffering befell them. Some down fell down the rocks, but stood up immediately and went on. At the end of the road there was a magnificent garden, filled with all sorts of happiness, and all these souls entered there. At the end of the very first instance they forgot all their sufferings. Once there was an adoration at the convent of the Sisters of the Holy Family. I went there in the evening with our sisters. As soon as I entered the chapel, the presence of God filled my soul. I prayed as I do at certain times without saying a word. Suddenly I saw the Lord, who said to me, know that if you neglect the matter of the painting of the image and the whole work of mercy, you will have to answer for a multitude of souls on the day of just judgment. After these words, our Lord, a certain fear filled my soul, and alarm took hold of me. Try as I would, I could not calm myself. These words kept resounding in my ears. So, I will not only have to answer for myself on the day of judgment, but also the souls of others. These words cut deep into my heart. When I returned home, I went to the little Jesus, fell on my face before the Blessed Sacrament, and said to the Lord, I will do everything in my power, but I beg you to be always with me and to give me strength to do your holy will, for you can do everything, while I can do nothing of myself. I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm sure we're going to get to how um, the Divine Mercy Chaplet. I think we're kind of getting the gist of what's going on here. So it's very, very interesting. If you ever have a chance on Amazon Prime, there is a story about her. It's pretty interesting. Take a look at it if you can. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a beautiful Saturday. I will be back tomorrow for our Sunday readings. Until then, have a great day. Be well. Be kind to each other. God bless.